And welcome to the special simulcast, the Neil Haley Show and the Singularity podcast with our host, Gary Lyon Otto. And unbelievably enough, podcasts, we're in season 3, podcast 29. We've definitely killed it in the episodes in season 3 than any season. And it's because of the question. And I think when Gary was thinking this would be a 2 to 3 minute podcast, he's found out that's not the case because your questions, Gary's questions he's created based on this book, Singularity, Mankind's Search for Relevance, he's found out something pretty interesting. And what he's found out is you get a lot of conversation started with each one of these very philosophical questions. So here's question number 29 or podcast 29. Will the new DI world adopt the morals of those political groups that skew decisions toward supporting segments of society considered to be in need? What is the fate of political correctness? Wow. You're right. Is DI going to believe in political correctness, Gary?
Um, it seems, it's interesting. You mentioned, digress a little bit. You said, but philosophy. And really, I think that we need to elevate to the level of philosophy. That's a good start when you're dealing with digital intelligence, because that we're talking about a realm that's so new and so completely different than what we're familiar with. Philosophy is a good way to approach it because it's a very omnibus approach to the problem, understanding. But let's get back to the primary discussion of this particular session. Well, the thing is, humans have their own feelings about. Matter of fact, we can even say it's political. It's become political because politics is largely largely in today's world, particularly, is geared towards gaining power, and which is really interesting. The whole thing we're talking about is gaining power, and when we talk about DI power versus human power. And so that's the one thing that is not being considered in the politics of today. The politics of today is, do the liberals have power or do the conservatives have power? And the liberals control the press. They control so much of they control education. In particular, virtually every educator is, a extremely high percentage are of that ilk. So the thing is, are we going to be able to? Is that a very dominant part of this world? Certainly a dominant part of the information that people get. And the question is that a large part of that is we're going to appeal to the masses, but the masses they're appealing to is becoming a very segregated group. We're appealing to transgenders. We're appealing to they're favoring the criminal over the victims. They're favoring the illegal alien versus the citizens. We're looking at ways to take power through elections and so forth. You can see my political bent here, but the thing is, but they're real. I mean, these are real things versus what works. And I've talked about that in one of our sessions. Is what works is going to be what drives our DI neighbors. And I have a strong feeling that I don't think that they're going to be geared towards meritocracy. What works is meritocracy. Merit, they're going to look at people such as yourself who have something to offer, bring forward, move us, advance us, because that's what DI does. It's a vast acceleration of our progress. And so does the political correct attitude that dominates so much of the discussions in today's world, is that going to survive when it doesn't really make humans more equipped to deal with the digital world? I think it actually does the opposite. I almost say, well, we're victims again. The idea of victimhood is so defeating for humanity, and the idea that we need to be competitive. Well, I mean competitive, not really outright competitive, but we need to be relevant. Whole purpose is relevant in this world. That mankind search for relevance. To be relevant, meritocracy has to succeed over political correctness.
Right. And
the lecture there. Sorry.
Let's say, I mean, I understand. So, do you think that they will? I think they're going to make it so that there is an equality to the society. I think that they're going to look at what's going to be the best to lead to less war. less violence, let's hope, and really building her harmony together. So they're going to have ideas that might politics might be kind of not needed anymore. We had our political leaders for one reason, to basically guide the masses. Will DI be the one place that guides the masses at the end of the day? Will it be able to be the all know be all? We think of the president of the United States, especially if they're on that specific side of the aisle, the end all be all. What he says is something that we should follow. Most, there's something, maybe 30-40% have that blind allegiance. Well, the masses need something that's leadership. Do you feel that DI can replace the politician in the fact that he's going to unite, he or she with this digital being can unite the world? That's ultimately what I think, if DI was going to take over, would look at.
Well, the thing is, if they take over, which is really what we're talking about here, um, humanity's opinions become less meaningful. It's going to be their own, the opinions. I think if we want to be aligned with DI, and I think that's really going to be more the question, is not make DI right now. It's make DI beneficial to us, make it align with us. But in the end, I think we're going to turn the tables. It's going to be we want to align with DI so we feel relevant. Now, I think it comes down to a large part of society is going to acquiesce and say, "Oh, you're taking care of all this. We're making, everybody's richer because DI makes the world much wealthier, to say the least." So I'll just, ride on, on my, I'll just follow the coattails and just have it take care of things for me, do my work for me. Take care. We get robots in here doing all our work. We have something writing. We need to write something. It writes it for us and so forth. But really, that's the problem: is deterioration of the human soul, and I think that's a big risk. So that's the thing. Is as part of this, I think we're going to see large parts of the philosophy of the day that's dominating so much of our conversations is going to just fall by the wayside. I think what works is going to be ultimately be what succeeds.
Makes you think. It truly makes you think, Gary. And that whole thought process. Now, my prediction is it will want to unite the world because it won't want to be destroyed. Because how will digital intelligence live if it's destroyed? If every data center is blown up, will digital intelligence be able to continue?
But to unite the world, and I agree with you, by the way, I really do. To unite the world, you have to deal with contrary nations. In particular, you have the antagonists between the Soviet, or not the Soviet anymore, the Russian, the Chinese, the North Korean, the Iranian, and so forth. You have that group that is directly contrary to the other group, which we are part of. But there's actually other groups, or the socialist groups of Europe and all the other things. There's all these things but to unify things, they have to take over power. So for them to take over power of the Chinese government, for instance, it would have to be very subtle, but they'll be smarter than we are, so they could probably do it. And they'll have to do it behind the scenes, wouldn't you think? They'll have to behind the scenes, their power to work in the U.S. and powers work in Europe and the powers work in the other locations must come together to solve those problems. But you're right. I think eventually they're going to find a way to find harmony across the world. Make it so you don't have some nuclear holocaust that destroys all the infrastructure. It's the opposite of what we did with Terminator. Terminator that intentionally destroyed the infrastructure to take over power. I think it would be the opposite if you're going to take over the entire system. They're going to want to take over a harmonious system. So they're going to have to create the harmony that we are been so reticent to have over all of humanity's history.
All right. So go to GaryLyonAuto.net and purchase Singularity, Mankind's Search for Relevance. Like and subscribe to the podcast. And if you're interested in Gary's political books, go to AbsolutePowerBooks.com. Appreciate it, Gary.
Thank you, Neil.
That was the special simulcast, the Neil Hayes Show and the Singularity Podcast, guys. Take care.